So this is a project that Forest Grower Levy Trust funded as a result of its of a bunch of consultation that was done after that Tolaga Bay and the Tasman Bay event in 2018. So it was a collaborative project between forestry companies and contractors, a machinery manufacturer, FGR providing some funding, and through the Forest Grower Levy. And it's outside of the FGR program in forestry automation, so it's totally funded through Forest Grower Levy. So why are we interested in that? Obviously, we're concerned about our performance in the environmental management area. Plenty of horror story photographs have hit the media over the last couple of years. As Campbell's indicated earlier, we're not maximising our log residues, and we're also under attack for those debris flows that Andy has pretty well illustrated just in the last presentation. So really the question is, how can we reduce the impact of our operations on the environment to avoid these kind of incidents? Because, but for the grace of God, could happen anywhere at any time in anybody's forest. So as a result of that consultation, a couple of workshops, the industry developed some near-term management responses, and Andy's gone through a lot of those already. And we've covered the issue around felling breakage, especially on steep country, and some of those numbers that Campbell showed are pretty amazing in terms of the volumes and the variation. And obviously the cost of extracting small and short broken tops is often not economic. So from a harvesting perspective, we need to continue to develop mechanised harvesting operations to reduce tree breakage, and that's the first of those projects that's underway. And secondly, to develop new technologies to better extract harvesting residues. So this project is about an alternative means of slash removal, such as improved grapples under a helicopter that can pick up slash out of incised gullies and waterways that you can't get access with machines in those high-risk areas. So the project was aimed at designing and building an improved grapple for extracting the slash, trialling a helicopter extraction operation, and the cooperators in the project, Helihawk Limited, based in Taupo, was the technology developer. Wairarapa Helicopters Limited was the helicopter company used, and P.F. Olsen Limited was the cooperating forest manager. So, as I said earlier, collaborative projects get things done quicker and more effectively. The design started in February of 2019. So the Helihawk company worked with a local engineering company in Matamata, Colchester Engineering, and the design was completed in February of 19. It was basically a lightweight multi-tine grapple with hydraulic opening and closing of the grapple, but it did not include grapple rotation. So it was basically a hydraulic grapple slung underneath the helicopter. So the build started straight after that design completion, and you can see here, this is a few shots from Colchester, and then it was had its first test in a woodlot operation in the Wairarapa that was being logged by Farm and Turkington Limited. Then we moved on to production trials. The first production trials of the Helihawk slash grapple were completed in May of 2019. The site was a steep radiata pine harvest area in Kānuka Forest in Gisborne, managed by P.F. Olsen. The helicopter pilot was Tim Williams, a very experienced helicopter pilot with Wairarapa helicopters. And the net helicopter payload of each load of slash was measured using an onboard load cell and a tension monitor that was displayed in the helicopter cab that was then relayed via radio to the ground crew, and time study was collected by the ground crew collecting the element times and the total cycle time of each extraction cycle of the helicopter. It's important to say that the helicopter was not trying to take the logs, the slash, all the way back up to the landing, but previously to starting the operation, you identify a safe area that would be above the high water mark, hopefully, of the next event. So if we just have a quick look at some of the results of that initial trial. There's a few numbers on this table. I'm not going to cover all of them, but basically the results showed that the average net extraction productivity was about 18.5 tonnes per productive flying hour, and that's tonnes of slash. And that's when it's extracting the slash that was fresh. So material that had only been logged a few months before was effective. We also trialled logging, extracting old slash that was over a year old, and that's much lower productivity. The cost of the slash extraction averaged about $135 per tonne of slash removed, and in the best, relating that back to the length of stream that was cleaned, in the best conditions, that equated to about $112 per metre of stream length. So it's not a cheap operation, and it's really reserved, I guess, for the highest risk areas. But when the cost of cleaning the stream using the helicopter slash grapple was averaged across the volume of wood that was extracted from the whole harvest area, the net cost came out about $1.05 per cubic metre of wood produced. So the conclusions from the trial, obviously using manual workers, to put waders on and grab a chainsaw and get down there in the gully and remove harvest residues from those steep and incised gullies can pretty readily be recognised as a dangerous task and not really preferred. Using machinery where access is available is effective, but often access is not available, and often even when you get the machine down into the gully, it will result in soil disturbance and sedimentation of the waterway, which is generally unacceptable in a lot of regions. It's fair to say it's still acceptable in some regions, but it's something that's becoming less and less acceptable. This trial basically showed that the helicopter slash grapple that was designed, built and trialled by Halihawk Limited was pretty well matched to the task required and the size of the helicopter that was used. You could have a bigger grapple with a bigger helicopter, but then you'd be into higher cost. So really the next steps, I guess, from that was to really start to look at, can we design and build a hauler slash grapple to use with the hydraulic grapple carriages that are pretty common in harvesting these days. So that's one idea where a slash grapple could be attached and detached quickly, so it would be more cost effective than using a logging grapple to try and pick up slash. Now I'd just like to show a quick video of the operation, and then we can take some questions after the video.
The forest industry in New Zealand recognises that it needs to improve its environmental management performance. Woody debris, or slash from forests on steep terrain, can wash down waterways, causing problems downstream. Removing this slash after harvest has traditionally been difficult, which is why Forest Growers Research is managing a project to develop better ways of extracting the residues that arise during harvesting steep forested terrain. The slash grapple, designed by Halihawk Limited and built by Colchester Engineering Limited, was trialled in various steep terrain forests in the Wairarapa and Gisborne regions, using a skilled pilot from Wairarapa Helicopters Limited.
Sarah and I have been farming here for 30-something years and planted a lot of this forest 20-something years ago, and we've been mindful of trying to harvest it as tidily as we can, which is quite difficult. We were not too keen about the slash getting in the waterways and ending up causing issues further on downstream, and so having this grapple is going to hopefully remove a lot of that stuff that's going to cause problems.
And P.F. Olsen's approached me about using our conventional grapple for moving the slash out of the stream. So what they told me they wanted to do, I said, well, our other logging grapple just wouldn't meet the do the job. So I rang Tim and says, gee, we've got to have a look, what are we going to do? We knew we had to make a grapple that would pick up the slash multi-time, but also to release it in flight, to speed up our turnarounds. So that's why we're running a hydraulic inner pack, so you can let it go in mid-flight.
Ronnie rang me up one day and said, we've got to get a grapple made, a slash grapple, and I said, yeah. I said, yeah, I'd be interested in that. And away we went. And hence the reason we're out here doing it today. And we're here on a block on the Wairarapa coast, and it's a good block to do the trial on. It's a pretty difficult thing to fly because it moves in 3 places. But once you get a bit of a handle on it, it's it works extremely well.
It certainly does make a difference on what we've seen with our trials and everything, and we can target the places where they can't get with the diggers and things like that. So that's the sort of the channel we're heading down, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, we're just another tool in the toolbox for a forestry company. When it's a flat, it's fine, but when you've got steep banks that lead into it, that's where the machinery starts to
get down there.
Yeah, we can go in there, we just pull what we have to pull out, and we're gone.
Got a 7 horsepower Kohler engine with its hooked to our hydraulic pump. We imported a VVR hydraulic unit from America, which is a pretty innovative idea that's allowed us to cut our oil capacity down to save weight, and this actually pressurizes. It runs under 10 psi pressure, which is feeding our pump, so we get no cavitation or anything with this swinging around. And it was enabled us to keep the weight right down. It's a new idea that they've made. That's the only one in New Zealand that I know of, and it's a pretty innovative idea. So far it's been working really well. It's awesome.
helicopter slash grapple works well in difficult operating conditions, in areas that would be too difficult and dangerous to clear with either machines or manual labour. The grapple works best clearing slash which is fresh in the first few months after harvest. It is a new tool in the toolbox for forest owners to use for improved residue management, and moving forward, it is definitely part of the solution for high-risk environmental areas such as steep terrain waterways.
Okay, so since that was that video was taken, there's been some further work done with the Heli-Hawk helicopter slash grapple. Pampac in Napier have used it, and it's just recently been used by Farm in Turkington in a sensitive archaeological site in the down the line of lower central North Island. So if anybody's interested in using this operation, Heli-Hawk is the Heli-Hawk Limited, Ron Parker, he's the guy to contact. So thanks very much.